truck, wiggle out, jump, run, somebody.
I'm scared.
I know. I'm gonna be there in your head talking to you the whole time.
Truck, wiggle out. Jump when the truck slows down. Run, somebody.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily a role that I was like, I totally understand this, but that was the fun of it, was getting to sort of dig deeper into something that I was partially extremely excited and the other part was terrified by the entire thing. So I stopped everything else that I was doing and just took 6 months to just prep in every way that I possibly could. I met with a trauma counselor to discuss the effects of being kidnapped and being trapped in that room for 7 years, because your brain does some very interesting things and shuts certain things down in order to protect itself, especially in regards to sexual abuse. And then the pregnancy and giving birth alone and lack of vitamin D, lack of nutrition, the fear of not knowing when your next meal is going to come from because they're counting on this man to come in every so often and bring them provisions, but who knows if he's going to actually show up or not.
For 5 years, you made life in that small room, that prison, as nurturing and normal as you could.
I'm 5. You're 5. So old now.
You are so old now.
Yep.
Hey, do you know what we're gonna do today?
What?
We are going to bake a birthday cake. You chose to tell Jack that room was the whole world, that there was nothing else.
And is that true that you actually decided even to isolate yourself a lot more as well in preparation?
Yeah, I did. I just dropped out for about a month. I just stayed at home and wanted to see what that was like. I had had some friends over the years that had done these silent retreats where you go to like a mountaintop for 10 days and you have no communication. You're not even allowed to make eye contact because that's also a form of communication. And I had some friends who swore by it and a couple who only lasted 3 days and couldn't take it. So I wanted to see what would happen for me and what would come up personally if I just let go of all of the stimulus and just saw what was sitting there in my mind, because I imagined that Ma had about 2 years of that before Jack came around.
And what did you learn from that about yourself? I mean, are you a loner? Some people are gregarious, some people are a loner just naturally.
I'm definitely, I've always been a loner, so it wasn't super scary, and actually I found it rather exciting to do it because I spend a lot of time alone anyway. But a lot of old memories came up for me, a lot of reflections on my relationship with my mom, my childhood, and a lot of misunderstandings. That was the interesting part, is I realized how many things as a child, because we don't have a mature enough mind to fully understand the complexities of all the situations, that things that maybe hurt us in the past were just miscommunications. And the main one for me was remembering when I was about 7, and I have a younger sister who's about 3 or 4. My mom moved us from Sacramento to Los Angeles, and we moved into a studio apartment that was, a little bigger than room, but a room. And the bed came out of the wall, and we just had a tiny kitchen that was up against one wall. We did have a door with a little room for a bathroom, so it wasn't like everything was all in one spot. But we each had, I think I had like 2 pairs of jeans, 2 shirts, a headband, and a pair of sneakers, and my sister the same, and my mom the same. We had a couple of toys. It was basically whatever could fit in our old Mercedes. And we lived there, I think, for a year, and like living off of top ramen and just very few, and like canned beans. Like we just had very little money. And I remember it still as being one of the greatest times of my life. My mom has an incredible imagination and could turn anything into a game. And I never felt like I was lacking in any way. I was just so happy. And it wasn't until there was one moment where we were all sleeping in bed together, all 3 of us, that I remember waking up in the middle of the night to the sound of my mother sort of holding her mouth to try and be quiet, and she was hysterically sobbing, choking sobs. And I remembered thinking, oh, that sounds like when my mom takes my toys away from me. And it wasn't until many years later that I found out that my dad had asked for a divorce. That's why we had moved, and this whole time my mom was creating this world for us and also for herself in order to escape the pain of what she was going through. And I realized how close I felt to Room, to this story, and all of the ways that I could bring some humanity and some reality to it.
You're gonna love it.
What?